the ultimate Barner.
War Eagle, baby!
The lifelong Bammer.
Roll Tide, Bama Nation.
This is the Tigers and Tide Podcast. All the latest news from Auburn, Alabama, and the SEC. Here are your hosts, Brett Mason and Jamie Thomas.
All right, we're trying something new this week. It is a midweek version of the podcast. I'm happy to report we had over 200 folks listen to last weekend's podcast. How big is that?
That's pretty big, man. I mean, 200 last week. Maybe we'll get 400 or 500 this week.
So we're going to try to keep delivering high-quality content in the podcast and on the website and the Facebook page as the season progresses and we get down to the big playoff that's going on this year for the very first time ever. And let's start with Bama because I don't know which one has more controversy, but I see a lot more people talking about the Bama performance week one. What's your thoughts on that, buddy?
Well, the polls came out today. I guess the AP poll was out again today. And how we're still ranked number 2, I have no idea. It just baffles me. Maybe I'm one of those fans that looks at the negative more than the positive, Brett. But I just don't see it, man. I know, starting at the quarterback position, Blake Sims, statistically had a very good game Saturday. But I saw a quarterback, even though he went 24 for 33, he threw for 250 yards. I saw a quarterback that can't make the big plays. I mean, he's good with his feet. He did manage to get 42 yards on the ground, when he was scrambling, managed to avoid the sack. Anytime he tried to throw the ball downfield, or anytime he tried to make a play, he come up short. If he's the best we've got, if Jake Coker's not any better, if Alex Morris isn't any better, or Cooper Bateman isn't any better, then this is going to be a long year for Bama. And for Bama fans, I think we're looking at maybe 2 or 3 losses.
I was a little bit shocked that we didn't see a little bit more implementation of Coker for the first week, but seeing how tight the game kind of was, I guess I can understand that. You wanted to stick with what was somewhat working. But now do you think the next week or two we're going to see some Coker?
I think we're going to see a lot of Jake Coker against Florida Atlantic. Saban still hasn't said that, how much he's going to play Coker and how much he's going to play Sims. He did say they both would play. I expect this game to be out of hand by the second quarter. I think Florida Atlantic scored 7 points on Nebraska this past weekend. They scored on the first or second drive, and then Nebraska just kind of blew them out. I expect to see Jake Coker at least 50% this week. But, again, I mean, Saban is known. He doesn't, he doesn't discriminate. He puts the best player in that position. And if Blake Sims started and played the whole game against West Virginia, it tells me that Jake Coker isn't ready to be the starting quarterback at Alabama, and it tells me we're in a lot of trouble.
To me, the defense was the biggest thing with me. It seemed like you got a lot of issues with the corners. The line was a little soft. It didn't look like a Saban defense at all.
I don't think Cyrus Jones got the burn out of his eyes yet, man. He got absolutely abused. Slide got abused on that one touchdown pass. West Virginia is a better football team than what everybody wanted to give them credit for. They came to play. But, with Saban being a defensive back specialist, there's just no reason for that team not to play better. They're going to have to improve in all 3 phases of that. I think with Trey Priest coming back this week, it's going to be we're going to see a big change there. The leadership's going to be back on the field. We did lose one player on defense. Jarrett Williams, he's going to be out for 4 weeks with a broken foot. He made quite a few big plays, but he was also, you could tell he was just a little bit of inexperienced, even though he did start 10 games last year, or played in 10 games last year. He was out of position quite a few and missed some tackles that he should have made.
I'm looking forward to seeing Coker play more. I saw 2 different analysts on TV saying that he had issues with the playbook at FSU, and that they think that's the problem now. He just can't grasp a lot of the playbook, and that's the only reason they're not playing him, because he just can't get enough of the playbook down.
Well, I mean, really, we didn't see that much playbook against with Blake Sims. I mean, the passes he was successful in were swing pass right, swing pass left, screen pass right, screen pass left. He had one completion over the middle, and that was the slant pass to DeAndrew White. And other than that, anything he tried to throw any further down the field, he threw an interception or he underthrew the ball. Other than that, it was Derrick Henry left, Derrick Henry right, or T.J. Yeldon left, T.J. Yeldon right. So I don't know. I'm I don't know if I believe too much of that. Hey, I was joking around with some of the Auburn guys I work with today, and told them that they're asking if there's any way we could work out, maybe Jeremy Johnson coming over and playing for Alabama the rest of the year, and then you guys can have him next year when Marshall leaves, or are you open for that?
Well, I'll tell you, and we'll talk since you took it there. We'll just start talking about Auburn. I thought Jeremy Johnson looked good, but I didn't think he looked that much better than Sims. He was a very basic. He may have had a couple big plays, but for the most part, he doesn't have that ability to make really great things happen when you need, and that's perfectly evidenced by the fact we didn't convert any third downs with him. Well, we did one, I think. It was 1 for 3 we were, and they were 1-yarders. But he was pretty accurate. I'll give him that. But yeah. I was glad when Marshall was back in. I'll just be honest with you. Mainly, I guess, because it looked like the Auburn Tigers from last year with Marshall in. Maybe that's why I liked it better. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought, from what I saw, I watched the replay Saturday morning, and Jeremy Johnson was very accurate. He throws the ball on a rope. I did see a couple of passes that, if anybody other than Duke Williams had been on the other end of it, might not have been caught. He made just a fantastic catch, that one-handed grab, and then Melvin Ray made a couple of nice grabs. So you never know. The receivers might have made him look better, but I was pretty impressed with Jeremy Johnson.
Yeah, well, look, I was happy that he's our guy on the bench. So don't get me wrong. Like, when you see that, you're like, okay, worst case scenario, we'll probably still be okay and it won't be a nightmare season. You saw it in the second half. Once Marshall became a threat, everything opened up. Our offensive line, which didn't look too impressive the first half, suddenly looked like the biggest brutes in the SEC when really they weren't. It's just the fact that you're spreading that offense out some, made it a little more porous, a little open, so they were able to get penetration better and just dominate. Just that one aspect. So just by changing the quarterback out, the whole team looked 100 times better, except for the guy you mentioned, Duke Williams, who is an absolute beast. That guy, that was the most fun I had watching anything ever, was watching that dude snag passes that most receivers would have dropped. That dude is phenomenal.
I'm going to tell you, Auburn may have the best wide receiver core in all of college football with him and Coates. And Ricardo Lewis is just I know he didn't have a great game Saturday, but he's just an absolute baller. And then, of course, you got Uzuma and then Melvin Ray, the Alabama transfer. Man, how can two guys like Grant and Ray never see the field and touch loose, and they go to Auburn and they just instantly become stars? I mean, I don't understand it.
I think the receiving core looks good, and I think the backs look good too. I wasn't hugely impressed with Cameron Artis-Payne until he was put in the real Auburn offense, and once that happened, he ran as good as anybody. I believe he was second. He was only a few yards behind Gurley in terms of rushings, which I didn't see talked about that much on all the networks. Matter of fact, I felt, and I like to be really critical of my team, but I thought that the SEC network and ESPN just dissed Auburn all day yesterday and all day Sunday.
David Pollack was all over Auburn for some reason.
And I'm not a delusional guy that we're going to the playoffs mainly because our schedule is so brutal. But I mean, come on, that Arkansas team was a pretty damn good team. And granted, we had some problems, and it was mainly a scheming issue in the first half, which they had to adjust to. But once we made the adjustments in the second half, and we actually got our real offense on the field, Auburn looked just like the Auburn of last year, unstoppable. So,
and the defense played really well in the second half too.
I don't know how all these guys managed to. I saw several of them rank Auburn, 10th, 12th, 7th, like not anywhere near the Final Four when they were doing their picking. And yet Alabama, who I'm not disrespecting in any sense of the imagination because it was just one game, but they didn't look all that sharp to me, and everybody still had them in the Final Four at the end of the year. And I'm like, come on, man, you're killing me here. You're driving me crazy.
Yeah, I think Herb Street was the only one that didn't pick them to be in this Final Four.
Well, I'm not a Bama fan, but I like to watch Bama play, and I highly respect Saban's ability, and I feel like if the team will go with him, and that's always, you don't ever know what kind of team you got, but if he's got a team that'll buy into whatever he tells them to do, he'll put them in shape, I think. So that's why I wouldn't say the season is completely lost just yet. But I think it's all going to hinge around Coker or Sims, man. And I agree with you. I think if Sims remains the guy, you're just going to be really limited on what you're going to see on offense.
Well, we're going to get into a situation against a team like Texas A&M and a team like Auburn that are going to just absolutely abuse our secondary and score a lot of points, and we're not going to have that threat like we did with McCarran last year. You know, Auburn had us backed up one time last year inside our own 1-yard line, and McCarran just throws a beautiful lob pass to Amari Cooper, you know, about 35 yards downfield, catches it in his stride. It's a 99-yard touchdown pass.
Right.
A couple of plays against Texas A&M that kept us in the game that we relied on McCarran's arm, and we just don't have that with Blake Sims, and you have to have that in order to win those games against teams that are going to put 40 or 45 points on you. It doesn't matter how good your defense is.
Overall, when you come away from a win, I don't think either fan base can be you're still in the hunt, man. As long as you're putting W's up, you're still in the hunt. So we'll move on to week two. We'll move on to week 2 and see what happens. We'll be back with a regular Friday podcast. Your votes on how you rank the offense and defense and quarterback play is still up on the website. So if you haven't went and voted, we're getting your grade, and I'm going to post those grades up tomorrow once they're completed. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you again on the show for Friday.
All right, man. What's up?
War Eagle.
Tigers and Tide is a weekly podcast covering football in the state of Alabama and the SEC. We don't claim to be football gurus or talking heads. We're fans just like you. If you like the show, please take a moment to share the link to this episode on your Facebook page. And don't forget to like our page at facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. That's facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. Have a great weekend and War Eagle. And Roll Tide.